Today's guest is a rock legend, a survivor, and a true rule breaker in every sense of the word. You know him as the bassist from Disturbed, now celebrating their 25th anniversary. But his journey to that stage is one of grit, grind, and never take a no for an answer. From crashing an open audition to proving himself in a lineup of 300 to recently opening up about his sobriety and second chances. John Moyer is the kind of guest this show was made for. Let's get into it. So we have John Moyer here, who's a complete legend. So thank you so much for being here. I feel so lucky.
That, but thank you.
You are. I feel so excited that you're here. And obviously Brandy made the connection, which his wonderful wife, Brandy, she's here today. And thank you so much for that. But yeah, I'm really excited for you to be here. So what's the deal? Why are you in LA right now? What's going on?
Well, we have a show tomorrow at the Forum.
Yeah.
It's our 25th anniversary of Down with the Sickness.
Yes.
So what we're doing, we do the entire Down with the Sickness album, beginning to end, with theatrics that go back to when Disturbed started. So, you know, even before I was in the band, and the band was back in the club days, they would wheel David out kind of like Hannibal Lecter with the mask and all that. So we bring that back.
Oh.
And then there's an electric chair aspect to the show, and we bring that back. And you know, David used to wear like a Department of Corrections jumpsuit. So all these old things that the band used to do, that was part of the identity, you know, of Disturbed back in the original, you know, days, the club days, and then of course, you know, the first couple years of the band touring behind, you know, The Sickness, the first album. So 25 years later, we're bringing all that back, but on the big stage, you know, with all the you know, the explosions and the fire and all the things that can come with that. So it's really cool. It's nostalgia, but it's like, it's power, it's theater. And so you'd really appreciate it. It's very theatrical, especially the first half of the set.
I want to come, please.
Yeah, and so there's the first half, and then the second half, we take like a 15-minute break. We leave the stage, they pull down a curtain, and like, so even in the first part of the set, I don't want to give away too much, but even Mikey's using his original drum set from the first album. Oh my God. Like, it's like really true to the original, and there's no giant riser. It's like you're in the club almost.
Oh, I love that, yeah.
And so then the curtain comes down, we take a 15-minute break, we reset the stage to reflect more of who we are now as a band. And then when the stage rises at that point, instead of the Department of Corrections jumpsuit, David's there in his classic cloak that he wears now. And, you know, the whole look of everybody is like, that's who we were, this is who we are. And it's like an instant time travel. And then the second half of the set, you know, we play Sound of Silence, we play, you know, Land of Confusion, Indestructible, you know, hits that we've had since Down with the Sickness. So as far as for a show for the fans to go to, there's a lot to have, a lot to take in.
Yeah, you know, obviously I've met you guys on a previous tour, right? Every time I'll watch videos on YouTube of like your set and stuff like that, but the theatrics are always really great. Like the lighting, everything, like you go above and beyond. And I feel like a lot of people are not, I mean, I don't think they do it as well. I don't want to talk shit. I'm not trying to talk shit. I just think that you guys has perfected it. It's just amazing. So I'm really excited. And if I can come along, great. I'll pay for the ticket. I want to come and see it.
You're going to really enjoy it. It's a journey, you know, even for us, it's a journey every night, you know, going back to what, you know, the original roots of the band and then to where it is now. It's a lot of fun. So
you weren't in the original, like, were you there from day one?
No. So I joined, they did 2 records without me. They did The Sickness and then the Believe album. And then that's when Fuzz, the original bass player, departed. And then there's an interesting story about how I got the gig at that
please.
point too.
Rule breaking. I love to hear about it.
Well, then I joined on 10,000 Fists, and I've been in the band since then, and that was 2000. I joined in 2004. That record came out in 2005.
I mean, I can't imagine anyone else being in Disturbed. Like, you were just...
Thank you.
I mean, you're perfect for it. And I'm just so happy for you that it worked out.
You know, things happen for a reason. Disturbed took a hiatus in 2011.
Yeah.
So I joined in 2005, did 10,000 Fists, and then we tour, and then we go right into making a record, and we did Indestructible, and we tour, and we go right into making a record, and we did Asylum, I think was the next one after that. And then, anyways, the band was just
a
machine.
Yeah.
You know, but when
you guys are still grinding all the time. I feel like you're always on tour.
We weren't taking breaks.
Yeah.
And it was starting to really affect us. I felt like we were still writing good stuff.
Yeah.
But it was starting to become a little routine. And I think when you're around people for so long, you know, it's sometimes you just need a break.
Yeah, sure.
So 2011, we took a break, a hiatus, you know, which effectively made me unemployed again.
Yeah.
You know,
how long was the break for?
It was 5 years, 4.5 years.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So, but now I had a bit of a name for myself.
Yeah.
You know, people knew me from Disturbed. I had a couple gold records, you know, platinum records under my belt.
Yeah.
You know, I've been on the radio, you know, so even I had some success, obviously, in Union Underground, and you know, lightning keeps striking. You know, my first band signed to Interscope, my second band signed to Columbia Records, and then I get the Disturbed gig, and then I have record after record. So my career personally is still climbing.
Yeah.
But you know, nothing is, I'm not, no golden parachute, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, like I can't stop.
Yeah.
Right. So 2011, I get the news that we're taking a hiatus. For an indefinable amount of time. Like tensions, it was to a point where the band was like, I don't want to use the word tensions. The need for a break was so big that there were no plans to get back together.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Like, who knows how long this was going to last for.
How did you feel when...
Oh, I was heartbroken.
Yeah, sure.
I was heartbroken. And so I just went right into, okay, what am I going to do next?
Yeah, I love that you never stop.
Yeah, David did a band called Device. Mike and Dan did a band called Fight or Flight. So they kind of did their little side projects during that time. Yeah. I did many side projects. So my first band was Adrenaline Mob.
Yeah.
I did that with Mike Portnoy, Russell Allen, and Mike Orlando. Wow. All three of those guys are freaking virtuosos on their instrument. That was like heavy metal Led Zeppelin. Yeah. It was just a jam every night. I never knew what was coming. Disturbed's very regimented. We play it a certain way and we nail it that way every night. Yeah. This band was like, hey Mike, how's that part going into the bridge? I don't know, bro. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so I'm just like a lot of freedom, but like uncomfortable amount of freedom, you know? And then sometimes the singer would turn to me, he's like, bass solo. I'd be like, no. He's like, yeah. I'm like, fuck you, Russ, fine, you know? There's just a lot of that, really like chaotic. But man, it pushed me. Yeah. And so by the time I did my second record with Adrenaline Mob, they're like, look, John, we're gonna do the second record, but it was more rock than metal. And so they said, we want you to play with your fingers on this record. You know, we want that finger tone. Yeah. And I'm not a finger player.
Have you ever done finger at that point?
No.
Okay.
No, very little.
So they're really pushing.
So crash course.
Yeah.
So Mike Orlando, the guitar player, is so gifted, super talented dude, like amazing shreddy guitar player, but also amazing bass player. Like he's like a different person when he plays bass. You know, a lot of guitar players when they play bass, it's like the guitar player playing bass. Yeah. When he plays bass, he's like a real bass player. Yeah. So he just starts giving me a crash course on his style of finger playing and all this. And I'm like, okay. And I start tracking the record, right? And I spent 2 weeks, like a week and a half, 10 days tracking the record. By the time I was done, my fingers were a bloody mess. Just blisters all over. And I'm just, once again, whatever hoops I need to jump through to become a better player.
So inspiring.
So I was a good player up to that point. I even had my own line of signature basses with BC Rich. And then I got into Adrenaline Mob, and it was like, I realized I had a long ways to go to be an exceptional player. And I realized that there's a lot of other things I could do with myself as an artist that could make me better. And so did I want the hiatus to happen? No. But because of it, I'm so much the better player. I was at a level for a long time, and I was plateauing. And if the hiatus wouldn't happen, I wouldn't have been able to jump up and to be the player I am today. Yeah. So I started playing my fingers a lot, and then I got a call from Jeff Tate out of nowhere. So I'm doing Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp now. Yeah. So I get this gig with Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, and I'm working with Kip Winger, I'm working with Lita Ford, I'm working with Vinny Appice, I'm working with, you know, and then we have these guests come in who I know, like, you know, Sebastian Bach and Vince Neil, and all these dudes come in. And, you know, I kind of know everybody, you know, from the Disturbed era. And it's like one of the gigs I do in the meantime, you know, to pay the bills. And it's fun.
And you get to be around other legends.
Yeah. And I just fit right in. I fit right in, especially with the guys who work hard. We're doing the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, and Rudy Sarzo and I start to become pretty good friends, right? So Rudy's playing with Jeff Tate, because Jeff Tate, if you don't know, is the singer of Queensryche. Okay? Queensryche had split
Yeah.
So now there's Jeff Tate and then there's the rest of the guys. Yeah. And they're both touring under the name Queensryche because the judge goes, well, I'm not going to make a decision. You guys, they gave him like 2 years to both tour under the name Queensryche. It's freaking wild. So Jeff Tate had his group. I call it the scab group. I was one of his scabs, right? You know, like football teams when they hire, you know, the guys who aren't the real players, but I was a scab player for Jeff. So I get a call out of nowhere. This is like, so 2011, band goes on hiatus. I think this is 2012, maybe 13. I've done some Adrenaline Mob stuff. It's kind of like not. It's kind of hit a wall. We're trying to figure things out. I'm not really sure I'm going to pay my bills for May. And then I get a text message. It just says, "Hey, John, this is Jeff Tate from Queensryche. Would you be available?
These impressions.
Would you be available in May to possibly tour with us?"
Look, life's chaotic enough. Making money move shouldn't be. And that's why I use Cash App. It's fast, it's secure, and it actually feels like it's made for me. No bank account? Who cares? You can get started without one. No hoops, no hassle, just straight up tools to help you cash in and keep it moving. And here's the part I rate the most. Sending money doesn't feel sketchy. Cash App's on guard. If something seems off, they'll literally hit you with a warning before you send anything shady. It's like having a little badass bodyguard watching your wallet. I love that for me. Cash App makes it so easy to split bills, pay back friends, or even request the exact amount someone owes you. Plus, who even needs to say, "I'll get you next time," when you can just split the bill right there on your phone? And the perks? With a Cash App card, you get exclusive pre-sales for artists like Kendrick Lamar, SZA, Future, and Metro Boomin. You'll get discounts on things you're probably already buying. All that with no hidden fees, baby. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services are provided by Cash App's bank partners, prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. For a limited time only, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to get free money. For real, there's no catch. Just download Cash App, use our code Rulebreakers, send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 right in your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. See this episode's description for important product disclaimers.
So it turns out Rudy Sarzo gave him my number. Wow. Didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Like, give a bro a heads up. So out of nowhere, I just get this random text from Jeff Tate. Like, I answer. He's so cool. He's like, "Got your number from Rudy and just want to know if you..." I'm like, yeah, tell me about it. And he goes, "So are you a fan of Queensryche? Do you know it's probably a little before your time?"
Yeah, no, so I don't know. I am an 80s enthusiast. I love that's one of my favorite genres of music, but no, I'm not familiar.
So
I don't want to lie to you guys.
You should do yourself a favor because they have what's considered the greatest prog record of all time. It's called Operation Mindcrime, and not just prog record. The greatest, the term is concept record.
Okay.
The greatest concept record of all time. Yeah. It's called Operation Mindcrime. And then after Operation Mindcrime, then they came out with their biggest record, which had Silent Lucidity, Empire, Jet City Woman, just a string of hits. So he calls me and he's like, "Yeah, we're doing Operation Mindcrime 25th anniversary."
Are they from the 80s or they are 80s band? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah.
So he goes, "We're doing Operation Mindcrime 25th anniversary."
Yeah.
So I guess 25th anniversary is now, my new thing now as you get older. So I fill in for the 25th anniversary of Mindcrime, and then he goes, and then there's the hits section. So it's like all my favorite songs with Queensryche, and a lot of that stuff with my fingers, and then I was doing the Adrenaline Mob stuff with my fingers, back to the weave, back to the fingers. I don't forget the original. And I did some other projects too. I did 2 records with a band called Art of Anarchy. One of the record was, the last record was Scott Weiland before he passed away.
Wow.
Scott Weiland's last record. Was a record that I played on.
Wow.
And then I did a record with Scott Stapp as well. So I did 2 records with Art of Anarchy. So Art of Anarchy, 2 records, Adrenaline Mob. And I did 3 records with Jeff Tate.
Damn, you've just done so much. It's crazy.
So that was just during the 5-year hiatus.
Wow.
Plus the stuff I did. And then I did a tour with Blaze Bayley, ex-Iron Maiden singer. I became great friends with. And that's when I met my wife, was the time I started touring with Blaze Bayley.
Yeah.
I got some great Blaze Bayley stories too. I'll tell one in a minute. But back to the finger thing. So remember I said Fuzz played with his fingers.
Yep.
So here we are, 25th anniversary. And I play half the set with my fingers, almost all of the Sickness era songs that when I first joined the band, I played with a pick.
Yeah.
I'm now playing with my fingers.
Wow.
Because I can do that now.
Do you feel more comfortable now? Which one do you prefer?
I'm always going to be a primary pick player, but I have so much fun playing with my fingers.
Yeah, it's different.
It's just like a little more connected.
Yeah.
Anytime I can play with my fingers, I do.
Amazing.
At the point that it's a little too too riffy or notey or starts to get a little sloppy, then I'll switch to pick.
Sure.
But now I'm like, I just love it.
Yeah.
And it's like I rediscovered my instrument.
That must be so exciting for you to, I mean, you've been doing this for so many years, and then to keep something so fresh and learning like so much on like, I mean, that's incredible. Like,
because it's easy to get stale.
Yeah.
And just to do your old stuff over and over.
Yeah.
Like how do you push yourself?
Keep it fresh.
Yeah. Sometimes you're forced to.
Yeah. I mean, that's
what I was
pretty
saying.
much, yeah.
I was forced to evolve.
Yeah.
And then playing with all these different artists.
Yeah.
I picked up so many different ways to play, and I just realized like how myopic, how tunnel visioned my style had been for so many years. It just really opened up. And so when Disturbed got back together, they had each done, a side project. I had done so many things. I'd played with so many people.
I mean, yeah.
I came back a monster. I'm like, let's go.
I'm better than ever. Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine. You have just lived so many different lives. Like, it's just, you're just the epitome of like never giving up. And then, oh my gosh, I'm just blown away by your story. When it comes to touring and stuff like that, like how you dealt with that, because you were constantly on the road, constantly grinding,
There
right?
was a time when we were touring a lot and I was away from, my biggest regrets have been being away from my kids. My stepdaughter, she dealt with a lot of it when she was 10, 11, and 12. And then later on when I had my son, with my previous wife, I was gone a lot.
Yeah.
During, year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's definitely that's the biggest regret by far. And it doesn't just end with your family. It extends to friends and things like that. I miss a wedding. I miss a funeral. I miss moments with the people who are closest to me, and that's one of the things that's the roughest parts about touring. Now Disturbed doesn't tour quite as hard as we used to.
I feel like you're always touring.
No, but
considering it never used. Yeah, okay.
Compared to what it used to be, trust me, it's not that bad.
Really?
We'll do a couple months and then we have the summer off.
Oh, okay.
We used to never take summers off.
Yeah.
And then we got like another month coming up in the fall, and then I'll have the winter off.
Yeah.
So, 1 month and then 2.5 months off, that's Shangri-La. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Because then I get to come home and be with, people I love and care about. And so one of the best things that happened, speaking of touring, we were going to do the 20th anniversary of The Sickness in 2020. And we know what happened in 2020, right?
Oh, yes.
Pandemic hit, and, my industry got hit the hardest.
Yeah.
The gathering of people, which is basically what we make our money on. That's everything, records sales don't do what they used to do. So basically we just become traveling t-shirt salesmen. We're just out there selling merch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when we're not doing that, we're not making any money, So it was a scary time for us, right? It was the best thing to happen to me and my family.
Really?
My son was 11 or 12 years old. My stepson was 13. And that's the time when boys in particular need their dad home the most. And I was there.
Wow.
I was there, and I was not just there, I was there every day because I
Yeah,
had
they
nothing
were
else
like,
to do.
Dad, go back on tour.
Right. No, but it was great.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, Brandy, who we got closer than ever during that time. Once again, taking the hiatus in 2011, not what I wanted, best thing for me as a player. The pandemic happening in 2020, not my first choice, best thing to happen for me and my family. We all want to control. Control's a thing for everybody, We want to choose what we do, and but life's kind of what happens between the things that we plan. That's when life happens. And I've always been a believer of that. And so if something, comes in my way, I'm not going to try to always go through it or lament the fact that something stopped me. I just pivot. And I've always found that has maybe that pivot's what I needed, and it led me to something even better.
Yeah. I mean, every story you told so far is you pivoting and figuring out.
And it would turn out to be something better.
Yeah.
A little tough at the time,
Every time. And
Thank you.
I keep saying this over and over again because, this is the first time I've really gotten to speak to you. And I just am so inspired by you because, you make me want to continue not giving up, because there is stages in my life I was exactly the same way.
Sure.
Even WWE, when I was first gonna get signed there, they turned me away. They said, well, no, we don't want you, because I was different. I was The first tryout I tried to do, I tried to be like what every diva used to be. I don't know if you watched old school WWE. The divas were like tanned and, you know, just beautiful supermodel, you know, gorgeous women. You know, Pamela Anderson's walking around, you know.
It was a look.
It was a look.
Gorgeous goes across all spectrums.
Sure.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, but they probably weren't ready for, you know, the dark,
pale goth. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now it's so funny because...
now everybody's.
A lot of them are now, you know, they've embraced it, but you were probably one of the
first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now they've embraced it. They're like, oh, because I think what happened with, you know, and maybe you could tell me I'm wrong, but the blonde, bombshell, whatever, the guys running WWE think that that's what people want.
Yeah.
But someone like you represent the girl who's writing poetry.
Yeah.
The girl who wants to do something. She looks at these, you know, blonde haired girls. She's like, oh, I'm never going to be that.
Yes.
You know, I'm more like a goth person. I'm more in my own feelings. And so someone like you brings in the audience that they never knew they were missing.
Yeah.
You know, so that's probably huge for them.
It helped me big time because the first time I tried to be more diva-esque, you know, I put on color. I was wearing like a blue dress or something like that, which isn't good on my skin tone. But yeah, I tried to be that. I lightened my hair, took all my piercings out because I had like my lip ring and gauges and stuff like that. And I took them all out because I was like, maybe I have to, you know, conform. Right.
Sure.
And so, you know, I went there. It didn't go very well. You know, I know it didn't. And then they were just like, you know, you're just not what we're looking for right now. And I was just like, okay, like, but I didn't give up. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back there again. I'm going to be completely myself. I'm going to be like my pale, the black, like all my piercings in jet black hair. You know, I'm going to go there, goth makeup. And if they don't like me, like you said, then okay.
They don't like me for me.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I went back and I was the only person that got signed there. And it helped me in my career. That's why, like, I'm a little tanned now considering, like, I'm not tan, but I'm tan. Right?
I'm the same version of tan.
Yeah, exactly. Like, my whole career, I had to stay as pale as possible, you know? And it's hard for people with our skin tone in this heat, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I made my career on being someone that's very different and not taking no as an answer kind of thing, you know.
What would have happened had they accepted you with the blue dress?
Oh, you know.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've never been asked that before.
Yeah, it was that no that allowed you to be you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I've never thought about it like that before. I don't know what I would have done if they would have signed me the way I was there.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have been as successful because I wasn't comfortable.
Absolutely not. Right. And it would have been, I don't want to say fraudulent, but it wouldn't have been
genuine.
Genuine, that's the word.
Yes. No, absolutely. Yeah. And I tried it again because I had a trainer down in FCW, which was their training facility.
Yeah. Where do they do that?
So WWE had like a training facility in Tampa.
Okay.
And it was just like this small, dusty little thing. You wouldn't expect it to beat WWE, you know?
Right.
It was just like this rusty little thing.
This is it?
Yeah, I know. I walked in and I was like, what the fuck, you know? Like, the trainer was so adamant about making me into a diva still. I didn't get a tan, but he was still like, put some color on, do this, do that. Until one day, WWE were like bringing us up on the road just to experience what Raw and SmackDown's like, right? And so I did it again. I put on another blue dress. Right? And I was walking around and I was so uncomfortable, like pulling it down constantly, you know? And then we do the event, we come back and the trainer's like, you know, I just want to point out somebody that just went above and beyond, you know, and took all my advice and put it into, you know, her outfit and da-da-da. And I thought he was going to say me. I was like, oh my God, I'm finally going to get my flowers for trying, you know, to be what he wants me to be. And then he was like, so I just want to say Summer Rae, who was a completely different chick, blonde hair, tan chick. And I was like, I was so deflated. I was like, I will never do this again. I will never let someone dictate what I should wear, who I should be, you know? Because I'm like, ultimately, I got signed for being a pale goth chick, right?
Yeah.
And this trainer was trying to mold me into something completely different. And I tried, because I was young, I was like 19, you know?
Wow.
I was trying to conform.
I can't believe, you were that young when you were first getting in the business?
I was 13 years old.
What?
So my whole family wrestled back in England.
Oh.
Yeah, and I started wrestling.
I got to read your book.
Yeah.
I got to catch up.
Well, I got it for you.
Yeah, we're taking one of those home with me. Is that cool?
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to have you sign it and everything.
Yeah, yeah. If you have one, give it to me. But I've been wrestling since I was 13 years old. I actually have been wrestling since the womb, I always say, because my mum was pregnant with me and didn't realize, and she was bumping around the ring.
No way.
Oh yeah,
You're
I've been
a miracle.
wrestling since I was a fetus. Yeah, no wonder I have scoliosis. This bitch fucked me up. It was crazy. I've been just surrounded by wrestling my whole life, and then started wrestling at 13, and then So I said, I want to get to WWE, right? So then I started
like
writing out
the pinnacle.
The pinnacle, right? That's where you can make money and do everything. That's the only spot, right? And so I said to my dad, I was like, I'm going to write out wrestling resumes, right? So I start sending them out to all these indie promotions, like these small town wrestling shows. A couple of them turned me away because I was a woman. They were just like, we don't take female wrestlers, you know? And I was like, you'll regret that. Yeah, back then, it was a long time ago. I started getting bookings, which is amazing. So I started traveling the world when I was 14 years old by myself. So I started going to Norway, Switzerland, France, Spain, Turkey.
You were traveling by yourself?
Yeah, by myself.
How old were you?
14.
And just...
Yeah, and my dad let me. He was like, go on, sweetheart.
But you're like traveling with the group.
No, by myself. So I would take the flight, I would get to the airport, I would take the flight, and then there'd be someone on the other end to pick me up to take me to the show, right? And then I'd stay on like their couch or whatever because I just wanted to be a WWE diva. And that's what I'm saying, like you're inspiring me so much because I'm like, I want to keep pursuing the way I did back then, you know? And like, it seems like you just never stop doing that.
Right.
Like you're constantly thinking and evolving and chasing, and it's really inspiring. So I started doing that. I started traveling everywhere. And then I came over to America when I was 17 to wrestle in Chicago at the Bowen Eagles Club. Do you remember that place?
No. Would that just feel like you're like, I made it?
Yeah. And it was just like this little all-female promotion. And I went there and I went to Florida and stuff. And then eventually I got given a tryout, you know, and they did 2 tours a year in England. So I went to London and then 6 months later I went to Manchester, and that's how I got in. But you look back on it and you're just so proud of yourself. It made me proud of myself listening to you selfishly. I was just like, damn, he did all that and look at where he is. And I'm like, you know what? I did something like that too.
Did.
Not as crazy as you. But I'm inspired by you.
Rulebreaker.
That's right. Okay. I do want to start talking about, you know, current stuff that's going on right now if you're comfortable to do so. But I would love to hear about, you know, your journey, because again, in music, actually, you know what, in general, when you're on the road, wrestling and music's kind of similar. I could
see that.
Yeah, where you're constantly on the road, you're never home, and then you can't sleep, and you're like, you know, you get into things, you know.
I got into things.
Exactly, right.
I spent my lifetime getting into things.
Right. So I don't know if you want to touch in that.
Sure. Yeah. I'll just say it outright. I am. What's today? The 12th. My sober date is May 2nd. I'm 10 days sober right now.
10 days sober. Hell yeah, dude.
Thank you. It's a big deal. I have a lifetime of drinking, and it didn't start with music. I grew up in El Paso, Texas. So if you know anything about El Paso, it's a border town. We're on the border of Juarez.
Right.
And so when I was in high school, I'm talking 15 years old, I would drive over the border because I had my license at 15 and 16 because I went to New Mexico to get my license. So they'd give me a license at 15. And then I would drive over the border into Mexico. We would park in the City Hall parking lot, which is right by the border. And it was walking distance to the strip of bars that catered to all of the high school kids.
Wow.
So El Paso High, their main bar was Tequila Derby. I went to Coronado High School. Our main bar was Superior. Like every high school.
So you had your own.
Pretty much.
bars.
We'd intermingle a little bit.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you know, we all had our own bars that we went to.
That's crazy.
So I'd go to Superior, and I paid. It was so great. $5 drink and drown.
Oh,
right?
Drink and drown.
Yeah. So what you do is you pay $5. They let you in. And then they give you a bucket of small Coronas. We call them Coronitas.
Oh, yeah.
So there's like 5 of them, you know. You'd sit down with your friends. The jukebox was lit. It was like all...
Sounds like a good time to me.
Oh, man. I mean, you're there like 15, 16 years old, hanging out with your best friends from high school. Nirvana's on the jukebox, and it just came out. You're listening to Lithium. It's blasting. And I mean, you're just like looking around, you see friends from school, you see other people too, you meet people. I mean, already living that like nightlife.
Rockstar lifestyle.
Kinda, you know? And that was right about the time I picked up the bass and I started playing in a band with a couple of my best friends. And there was never any shortage of alcohol. So yeah, so we would do that and go over and that was a Wednesday night. We'd go over there.
Yeah.
On a Wednesday, because the weekends we would be jamming at my buddy Damon's house. So Damon had like a large enough bedroom to where
sounds like fun. I don't know about you.
It was good time back then. It was good times. So we jam at Damon's house, and Damon had like this bedroom that was off the side of his parents' house, and it had a yard. So all our friends would show up, And then, someone would bring drinks. And then Damon's house was right across the street from a Circle K. And the guy at Circle K loved us so much, he just let us take beer.
Oh my God.
At 16 and 17 years old.
No wonder you started drinking. Everyone's like, take this for free.
Yeah. So then we're drinking beer. We're jamming Metallica.
Yeah.
I mean, I was 17 years old, and jam with your best friends. And, it was pretty awesome, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then I turned 18 and I joined a cover band in El Paso. So now I'm playing like the bars in El Paso.
Damn, you've been doing band stuff since you were extremely young. You
Well,
just
16.
knew what you wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, 16. Some people think that's a little late to learn an instrument because I know a lot of people learn a lot younger.
Yeah.
Like they start when they're like 10.
Yeah.
And I knew nothing about the instrument. So at 16, I had to learn everything. I was a quick learner. And I was always a performer. If I wasn't going to be a musician, I would have been an actor.
Yeah, you're an entertainer
I had been in
for
stage
sure,
productions. I was singing. I was doing all that stuff in junior high.
Yeah.
But then I didn't like being told who to be.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to be, you have to act like this. You have to act like that.
Yes.
I'm like, well, how can I perform and be myself?
Yes.
And that's where music came in. I could perform and then be my own persona, kind of like you do with wrestling. It's your own.
Just cranked up
I never
a little
realized
bit.
the similarity of that, but
Yeah.
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
So, so then I'm on stage or in front of people and performing and doing that, and we're drinking. So then I joined a cover band. I'm 18, and now I'm playing in the United States bars where it's very illegal to serve me, but they don't care because I'm in the band.
Yeah.
So I'm 18 years old, and it first started when I'd have a gig. If I had a gig, they'd give me alcohol. Then I'd come in on a non-gig night and they'd give me alcohol because they knew me.
Yeah.
So I'd go to Sandpiper, I'd go to the surf club,
Yeah.
I'd go to, I had my little.
Oh, you were
I had my
raging, yeah.
string of bars that we
Yeah.
were playing. Chelsea Street Pub. I could go into any of these places as an 18-year-old teenager
And just fucking
go in there and they would serve me and treat me like an adult.
Yeah.
I moved out of my house in the middle of my senior year.
Wow.
So I was already living on my own at 17 years
Yeah.
old.
Wow.
So I felt like an adult.
Yeah.
I was living.
We had to grow up very quickly.
Yeah, I was getting no help from my family. My dad would give me a couple $100 every once in a while when I was,
Yeah.
when I was needed it, but no one was taking care of me,
Yeah.
and the music was like my main, form of getting money, playing the cover bands. And then I moved to Austin when I was 20. And then of course, and once again, now I'm 21, I'm playing bars in Austin and all over Texas. Now I'm playing Houston, I'm playing San Antonio. We had a little circuit. And of course I'm drinking every night. And my dad told me this too, because he was an alcoholic. He goes, he recovered, God rest his soul, he passed away a number of years ago. He said, it's not just that we find alcohol, then we create a life around alcohol.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I didn't mean to do that, but
Yeah.
here I created this life to where my job basically was partying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so to not drink would have been weird.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing that a long, long time,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm 51 now.
Consider you've been drinking a long time. You do not look 51.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I should look like shit.
You should actually, but you don't.
Yeah. So now I'm 51, and with drinking comes other things, and you're always advancing it, and you're always pushing the limits, and I push the limits. I've pushed the limits, and I just reached a point where it just became unmanageable, and the people around me said, enough's enough, John. And honestly, instead of being like angry or, or fighting back or a little bit of shame, that kind of comes with it, with the territory. I'm grateful to have had people around me who said, enough's enough.
Yeah. Because they care about you.
And they care about me, and I'm so ready for this chapter of my life.
Yeah.
Already I feel the changes, and I can't wait to see the type of person I'm going to be a year from now.
I'm excited, and that's when
Yeah.
we're going to do another episode too. We're going to do 6 months, and then
I like that idea, yeah.
because
and
it is fresh. It is fresh. It's been 10
it's
days.
still fresh and tender right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
I've been going to meetings
Yep.
on this tour.
yeah.
So I went to Seattle one, went to one in Portland.
Yeah.
I went to two in Napa, which my alcoholic choice is wine. That's like, I'll drink 2 bottles a night easily.
Yeah.
And so it's weird. I'm in Napa,
Where it's wine count.
it's the so-called world capital of wine.
Wow.
And I'm at an AA meeting.
And how did you feel?
I felt great.
Yeah.
I felt strong.
good.
Yeah, I've been out to a couple bars since then with some friends. No issues. I don't have I'm not triggered by someone else drinking.
Good.
No, my weakness is I can't just have one.
Yes.
That's my
Yes.
problem. I think I'm just gonna have 2 glasses that night, and it always turns into 2 bottles. So if I have one, then I can't stop.
Exactly.
You know, and if I could get a handle on that, maybe I'd keep drinking. But it's time I've done it.
Exactly. And you know, I was the same way because I love drugs.
Right, because you're like 6 years now?
6 years, 6 years. And I really needed it because I was getting in so much trouble, and I was ending up on TMZ, and just like I was ruining relationships. Yeah, it was just business and personal. You know, I was ruining a lot of things. Yeah, it's a spiral, dude. It's crazy. But yeah, when it comes to alcohol, me and my family, I come from a family of alcoholics, you know? And so
it is a family disease.
It is. It's hereditary. I'm telling you, it is.
Absolutely is.
And so, like, I've always been surrounded by alcohol, especially being from England, you know, where that's the culture is to drink, you know. But I'm the same way when it comes to, I can't just have one. I can't do it. I have to have, once I have one, I'm like, I'm in trouble. And then I will go until I'm blackout, you know. Like,
that was me this past year.
Yeah, yeah. And then on top of that, I don't know if you dabbled in all the other stuff too, but then I would want Coke because then I'd be like, I need to sober up, you know.
I need to sober up.
Yeah.
And then you get a little edgy and you're like, I need some alcohol.
Yeah.
And it's this vicious cycle until it's 9 a.m. and you're wondering like, fuck, how am I going to get through the, how am I going to get through this day?
Yeah.
And then you phone yourself through the day, shortchanging everybody who relies on you and cares about you, walking around in a fucking cloud of embarrassment and a haze of not really thinking anything through.
Yeah.
It's just awful.
It is. And like, I tell people all the time, it's so hard, especially alcohol, to give up too. And the fact that you're on tour, right, where alcohol is probably in abundance, right? Or people, that's like the culture too when you're on tour.
Absolutely.
And you are going to meetings, you know.
Meetings help a lot.
Yeah. And
I gotta say.
What else do you do? Like, tell us about the meetings first. I want to.
Well, every meeting's different, you know, and I really am seeing that's going from city to city. You know, it's just helpful hearing other people's stories and being able to talk myself sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I shared my story. My first meeting was pretty damn emotional. That was in Seattle.
Yeah.
That was the first time I said, "Hi, my name is John. I'm an alcoholic." I barely could even say the words before. I just couldn't even. It's the first time I ever said that, you know. And I knew it was coming. I was like, I got to share. It's my first meeting. I have to do this.
Yeah.
And I said that, and I just, man.
Yeah.
Just even thinking about it now, I was just shaking, and I was a mess.
That would make me too. Like,
Since then, I know I'm only like 10 days in, 6 or 7 meetings in. I can say it without shaking now.
Yeah.
I can, and without like the massive cloud of shame, you know, that comes with it. But it helps because you hear other people talk about their stories.
You're not alone. Yeah.
Everyone's different, but we're not alone.
Yeah.
And the similarities are incredible, but also the differences on what triggers people, on how they recovered, and what brought them to this and what brought them to that. Everyone's got their own rock bottom, and everyone's got their own, you know, thing that brought them to sobriety. But then, you know, the big book, you know, as they call it, is pretty darn helpful for anyone who wants to sober up. And if they're having a hard time and they think like AA is like where the losers go, it's not true at all. You're talking about super successful, what I call them functioning alcoholics.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people too who, you know, are just trying to get through their day.
Yeah.
And they're still down on their luck, but at least they're not drinking.
Yes.
You know, they might be broke, they might be barely able to pay their rent, but it's a win for them not to drink.
Exactly.
And that's just as powerful as the CEO who maybe is super successful, but he's decided that alcohol has also become unmanageable in his life.
Yeah.
And those two people, their win that day is that neither of them drank. And that commonality is really powerful within AA.
Because you're on the same level, you know.
I really take a lot away from that. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter who's talking. Almost all their stories, you can pull something away from.
Yeah. And it's really, so it's obviously been very helpful for you, right?
It has been. And I'm going to continue. I have a long ways to go.
Yeah.
You know, rehab's on the horizon. That's coming up.
Yeah, you're going to do that?
I can go and like, you know, do the deep work.
Yeah.
But in the meantime,
are you doing like outpatient or are you going to do inpatient?
I'm going to do inpatient. I'm doing it at the end of this tour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to finish out this tour. But AA's been great so far. You know, I'm going to go into rehab already like 3 or 4 weeks sober.
That's good.
Yeah. So I want, you know, me sobering up won't be the issue. I'll be able to dive right into
exactly
recovery.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what that means yet for me. I think it's a little different for everybody. You know.
So Sorry, continue.
No, that's it.
So how long are you going to be going into rehab for? Is there like
It's 28 days.
28 days. Okay.
Yeah, it's the full deal.
And you can get visitors and stuff. My family, like a couple of my family members did rehab back in the UK, and there was some time, like the first week or so, that they couldn't have visitors.
Yeah. It's like every 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's kind of like the typical thing from what I understand about it.
Yeah. And I love, I'm going to talk about the wonderful Brandy here, like just how supportive she is of you.
She's been wanting this for me for a long time.
Yeah.
She doesn't drink. She stopped a long time ago.
Yeah.
She'll drink every once in a while, but it doesn't.
Very rare.
It's like whatever.
Yeah.
We went out last night to a sushi place. She had some sake.
Yeah.
Big deal. There's nothing.
Yeah. And how'd you feel?
I didn't bother me at all.
Easy.
Nah, like I said, I can be around it.
Sure.
Fortunately, considering I am around it,
Yeah.
my band members and a lot of my friends and all that. I'm not going to be going out to the bars at night anymore till 2 a.m.
Right.
Because I can tell that's going to be a nightmare. Not because I want to drink, just because I don't want to hang out with fucking drunks.
Yeah, no, seriously. Once you're around a bunch of drunk people, you realize you're like, oh, it's annoying.
Already happening. I had a friend of mine who I saw in Portland, and he, while we were out, he had a couple drinks, and I was cool hanging out with him until he had a couple drinks. And I'm like, you got to go.
Yeah, you get so annoyed by people in the end. And I'm like, I love these people, but I cannot be around drunk people anymore. I'm like, I used to be like that.
My tolerance. I know. And then I'm thinking like,
That's I was annoying. Yeah.
But, so that's more what it is. It's not that I'm worried about drinking. I'm in it. I'm not really concerned about relapsing or whatever. It's kind of, I know it's something I need to be aware of, especially when things start going good, right?
Right.
That's when that's when the devil it's like, oh, things are going good.
Yeah, go on.
I got this now.
Yeah.
Treat yourself.
Exactly.
And I know that's eventually down the road when things are going good and I think I'm past it, that's where I got to watch.
Yeah.
But it never goes away.
Yes.
And I know this in my heart of hearts. And so I'm going to stay on guard for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And it's not just for me. It's for the people around me as well.
And I always say, like, I learned in counseling and therapy and stuff like that I was doing is community. And I texted to you guys before about the community that you surround yourself with is the most important part of sobriety.
Yeah.
Because you could have someone that encourages you to do this, that, and the other. You're like, oh, you're fine. You can have one.
Oh, yeah.
Or you can have someone like Brandy who's next to you just being like, you got this. You don't need it. I'm going to be here for you every step of the way. So that was like one of the things that helped me stay sober is I removed everybody that I knew wasn't a positive influence.
That's one of those essential things for a lot of people. They have to do that.
Yeah.
And you lose a lot of best friends.
You do, but you realize who's your friend and who isn't your friend there.
Yeah, that's true too.
So your circle gets really small. My circle's very small now. But yeah, your circle gets smaller and smaller and it's disappointing. You get a little disappointed by these people that you thought were your good friends, then all of a sudden they're not around because you're not buying the bar tab anymore, or, like getting all these drinks for everybody, supplying drugs and stuff like that. All of a sudden they're just like gone and you're just like, I don't understand. It's frustrating, but you wouldn't have it any other way. Once you figure out that everyone around you is positive and good for you, you're just like, I don't need anybody else. Yeah. This is great.
Absolutely. And, the physical and mental changes I'm looking forward to.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm hitting the gym like every day now because I don't have an excuse not to.
Yeah.
There's no hangover stopping me from going.
Don't you wake up like feeling so, like your mind is clear.
It's great.
Yeah.
I'm definitely waking up.
Your skin gets good. Oh, man. Yeah.
And just, getting up early and being able to think straight.
Yeah.
And then not be like, obviously the first thing is not having regrets about what you did the night before.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's very nice.
That's a bonus.
Yeah.
But, also just being able to tackle your day early on. And honestly, the beginning part of the day is when really most successful people make their choices on how their life's going to go. Mm-hmm. And then having that consistency, I feel I can now have.
Yeah.
When I think about my biggest weakness, it's always been alcohol. Mm-hmm. And it has affected my relationships. It's affected my brain power.
Yeah.
It's affected
me. Did it affect your play?
Physically.
Playing?
I didn't think so.
Really? Yeah.
But
it did?
I never get on stage drinking.
Okay.
Like maybe a shot, but my tolerance is so high. It's just like there's nothing to it. Like a shot of Jaeger, half a shot of Jaeger, I don't even feel it. It's nothing. Yeah. It's nothing. But I will say this, and I don't know if my bass tech's messing with me, but I don't think he is. My longtime bass tech, Barrett, he's been with me forever. He told me after my first show in Seattle, my first sober show, not playing sober, but like after the show, and I had been sober for like 4 days going into this first show in Seattle, and I wasn't going to drink that night. It was my first sober show with the band, and it was just a lot. It was very emotional, and that was also the day of my first meeting. It was a hell of a day for me.
Yeah, that's
my mind's distracted on stage because I'm thinking about all these things, but I'm playing great, and I'm thinking it's like an average show. I get off stage, I go into the dressing room, my bass tech comes in, he goes, "So what was going on tonight?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "That was one of the best shows you've ever played, John." I'm like,
wow.
"What are you talking about?" He goes, "You were so connected, you hit every note with incredible precision." He goes, "You're always good. That was great." He goes, "This is really, really great." I was like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
Like, you're just saying that. He's like, "No."
Wow.
He's like, you're leveling up again. And it was really nice to hear that.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, Anomaly, Portland show, comes in, 2 in a row, bro. Let's keep it going.
Yeah. And how long's he been your tech for?
Huh?
How long's he been your tech for?
I mean, off and on, 15 years.
Wow. So yeah,
He knows me.
he knows
Yeah,
you.
sometimes he knows me too well.
Yeah.
Like, if I make a slightest mistake, I have to not look at him.
Yeah.
Because if I look over, he gives me one of these, jazz. So, I mean, I'm like, just turn me down. You don't need to listen to every fucking note, bro. I'll look at you when I need you.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But he listens to every note. He loves it.
Yeah.
He loves like zoning out and really tuning in, which is so annoying because I know he's listening, but he's telling me lately.
He's done.
He's like, dude, this guy is he's telling me, then we did the show in Sacramento. He's like 3 in a row.
Wow.
He goes, you're better now.
Wow. Dude, that must feel amazing.
I don't personally feel it, but probably because I had the cloud.
Yeah.
And not that I was the drunk cloud,
well, it's not just
it's
when
in
you
your
drink.
system.
Yes, exactly. It's like you cannot have a drink, but it's still you've drunk every day, right? So it's still there, even if you're not drunk. It's like it's affecting your body, your mind, like.
And I read all the things about how long it takes to leave your system and the things that happen. I mean, for the most part, it's like a week.
Yeah.
But then the changes start happening the next week, which is like, the loss of weight and the skin clearing and all that. So.
Oh, all that water weight dropped straight off.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was like, oh, who am I? Yeah. I was like, I went up, I think my heaviest was 150. I'm 135 now, but that dropped off like really quickly. Just, you don't realize how much like water you retain by drinking so much.
And sugar calories and all the stuff that goes with that.
Yeah.
And wine's not a light beer.
Well, wine also dries you out. I don't know if you drank a lot of water after that, but like I couldn't drink wine because the next day I would have the worst headache.
I learned to manage that.
Really?
Yeah.
You just grew accustomed
it just turned into
to
a bit of a haze instead of a headache. It wasn't doing me any favors.
Yeah. I'm just so happy for you. And I know this journey is going to be rough, but at the same time, it's going to be freaking magical. And you're just going to feel the best you've ever felt. And like, especially like you said, you're 51.
Yeah.
You're going to feel the youngest you've ever felt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just glad, again, you have Brandy around you, and I can't wait to see you in 6 months and then again in a year and just see your progress. I mean, are you going to...
I'll tell more stories next time. I got some other ones. There's tons of them.
No,
It'll be a lot of fun.
We have so much more to talk about. If not, we'll be here for hours. We're going to go into the Brandy segment in a second.
Yes, definitely.
I'm just excited for you, bro. Like, this is such a great journey for you.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, and you're an inspiration too. And I mean, the similarities are incredible. And it's nice. You and I could do this all day long.
No, seriously, like this has been one. I dropped my cue cards, never picked them up. I just didn't need to because your stories are so. Dude, they're so inspiring. And I'm telling you, you could do a documentary, you could do a movie, like, right, Adam? Like, it's.
You ready to produce a movie, Adam?
Yeah, Denim Productions.
I'd be happy to. I mean, John, the wisdom and perspective that you brought to this show and this audience is unlike anything that we've had so far in terms of guests. And I think, first off, opening up and sharing that story is incredible. And like Saraya said, there was a moment where I also teared up of like that persistence and determination and humbleness that you're representing is really fucking cool.
I don't think anyone's ever called me humble, so thanks.
Well, I can't imagine.
I'll take it.
And beyond that too, I think also being able to look at what Saraya was doing initially, and I think you had said, you're bringing an audience that the WWE never knew that they were missing, and I think that moment, it's like I've been trying to wrap my head around what that is because I've heard that story from Saraya multiple times, but that's exactly it. And this show is another version of that, where we're going after an audience of people that hasn't really been spoken to. And to be able to share that and to, again, bring a story like what you have told is pretty incredible. So thank you for coming on and opening up. It's pretty awesome.
I do want to ask before we go into the segment too, though. If you had, we try and do this near the end. It's like a new thing where you pick 3 people you would want to come on the show who you consider rule breakers. And it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be like a famous musician. It could be like literally a therapist. It could be anybody. But
I've got this personal friend of mine. His name is John Pardue.
John Pardue.
And he's very successful businessman in the world of cybersecurity.
Wow. Yeah.
But he's unlike any human being you'd ever meet.
Okay.
I mean, he's rule breaker.
Yeah.
1000%.
Yeah.
He is like, he goes to business meetings wearing a tank top because he started bodybuilding in his 40s.
What?
And now he's
I
like 55 years old, and he like wins bodybuilding competitions.
Yeah.
And he's got everything he does. He has a unique perspective on how he does it. So he goes to business meetings wearing a Thor hoodie. Like, you know, the guy doesn't know what a suit is.
Yeah.
He never worn one. I don't think he knows what sleeves are. You know, and I just love that about him. He's just who he is.
Yeah.
And he's very successful. And he really appreciates other people, but he is his own person 1000%. So he's like my one unfamous person.
Okay.
How did the two of you meet?
We met at a wedding when he was wearing a suit. Literally the one time I've ever seen him in a suit was at this wedding, and he and I just kind of hit it off, and he invited me out, and then he and I have just been friends ever since.
That's cool.
Yeah. He's got some good stories. Most successful musicians are rule breakers on some level or another because you kind of have to. There's no, you can't go to school and get a job, or you know, it's not like you can get an education as a musician and then be successful in the music industry.
Exactly.
It just doesn't work that way. You can get an education as a musician and teach or write books or, you know, but that doesn't translate into performing.
Right, what you do.
Or this just doesn't do that. You know, and even acting does to an extent. You can go to an acting school and actually that can lead into, you know, auditions and things like that, and actually that does. Music's the Wild West.
Yeah.
So almost any musician you bring on here, in my opinion, is going to be some type of rule breaker.
Yeah.
I mean, you know him, Chris Jericho.
Oh yeah, we've got to have Jericho on here.
You got to.
Yeah. I love Chris so much. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's always been a complete sweetie. I actually met him when I was 17, and he was performing in Norwich before I got signed to WWE. I fucking don't care. But yeah, he's a good guy.
He just does what he wants.
Yes.
And that's what I love about him.
Yeah.
He's the most unlikely heavyweight. Because remember, he was the heavyweight wrestling, you know, of champion America. He's not that big.
No.
But man, he hustles.
Yeah,
and he works it.
He's the same as you too. Is that he evolves and changes and gets better. Like he never got complacent ever. He constantly was like grinding, and he does it now. Like the things he does in the ring, he shouldn't be able to do. Still.
I know, yeah.
It's crazy.
You know, he had his issues, back issues and things like that, and he overcame them.
Yeah.
You know, his force of will, he's one of the most willful people I've ever met. You know, was he gifted to be a great singer? Maybe not, but here he has a band.
Yeah.
It tours the world.
Yeah.
You know, he just, whatever he wants to do, he just makes it happen. He just wills it into existence.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he's another one.
That's a great one. I just want anyone and everyone that has just, you know, struggled or just did the path that they took was like this rather than just like the easy route, you know. I just like hard workers and grinders and unconventional people, you know. So but you are literally perfect for this. Like your whole story is fucking incredible. I'm going to think about it for a really long time.
That's great. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Are you ready?
We bringing on my wife?
Yes, we're bringing on your wonderful wife. All right, you guys, it's that time of the interview. It is the segment. Okay, so today what we're going to do. So first of all, let me introduce you to the lovely Brandy Moyer over here. Look how gorgeous she is. I love her.
My lovely wife.
Yeah, she's amazing. And you know what? She's so special to me because, I mean, we know the reason, but like she just did a lot for me about 6 months ago and she completely saved my life. So I just appreciate her so much and I love her. So she means a lot to me. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What we're going to do is I'm going to ask John here questions about his lovely wife, Brandy. And he's going to be wearing the dog shot collar. And if he gets it wrong, Brandy gets to zap him.
Yay.
She's still really looking forward to this.
Yeah. Before we get into that, can we get to know how you guys met each other really quick, so the viewers, if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, I mean, we met like most modern couples these days. We met on Instagram. Mm-hmm. He slid into my DM.
Okay, John.
And I've never gone on a date with a rock star before. Mm-hmm. And I thought it'd be a very interesting, funny date story. Mm-hmm. So we set up a time. We met up. It was great. The chemistry was perfect from the get-go. Mm-hmm. I felt like we knew each other. There was like a familiarity.
Yeah.
And
the way he looks at you, I just love it.
I just couldn't wait to see him again. And we just kind of started seeing each other every day. And
oh my God.
It's been 10 years and the time has just gone by so fast and it's just getting better all the time. So,
and when did you guys get married?
2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago?
Yep.
All right, Adam.
Am I going to get outfitted over here, Adam?
Yeah, here he comes.
I'm not so sure about this.
We'll do the low setting. We'll do the low, but it's not so much pain, it just makes you jump.
Okay,
like,
okay.
Oh, this is an easy one, John.
Okay, got it.
Are you ready, you guys? So if he gets it wrong...
These are questions about...
Brandy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
His wonderful
I know a little
wife,
bit about her. I feel good.
His wonderful wife, Brandy, gets to zap him if he gets any of this wrong, which I think is fair, right? Mm-hmm. You think it's fair?
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, it makes sense.
And the zap will go as long as you hold the button down.
Yeah.
wonderful.
So it can be very quick. It can be as long as you want, babe, depending on how mad you get. All right. When is Brandy's birthday?
October 12th, 1983.
There you go. Okay. What's Brandy's favorite color? Oh no!
I'm going to go with pink. Okay. Apparently it's not pink. Purple?
It's red.
It's red.
Yeah.
Oh, that was close.
See,
Okay.
it wasn't too bad.
Turn it up. That's not too bad.
there you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
We started at 2. What are we at now, Brandy?
We're at 3.
3.
Okay. So we can keep going up. Every time he
I'll
gets
let
it
her know.
wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. When is your wedding anniversary?
Remember the 5th of November.
Oh, okay. Guy Fawkes, I see you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. There you go.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's my country.
That's exactly it.
What's Brandy's favorite and least favorite food?
Well, her favorite food is pho.
Okay. Yeah.
And her least favorite food might be... Hold on, I got this.
You got
Maybe Brussels sprouts? Is that passable?
Yeah, that's possible.
That's possible.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
What is it? Brussels sprouts and what else?
Brussels sprouts and lima beans.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and also black-eyed peas.
Oh, yeah.
That's
There you
what I
go,
should have picked was
see?
black-eyed peas. She really hates those.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. All right.
So he's 3 for 4 right now.
He's 3 for 4.
Question 5.
Yeah, you're doing a good job.
Okay.
What size shoe does Brandy wear?
7.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't even know. Look, I know that one.
Yeah. He's like trying to make eye contact with me. Okay.
Question 6.
This one, question 6. This one might be a little bit more difficult.
Okay.
What's Brandy's go-to coffee order?
Well, it does change from time to time,
Okay.
but mostly, so it used to be oat milk lattes, but now she likes whole milk lattes with a dash of cinnamon.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my God! What a man! What a man! Okay. Random one for you. What's the color of Brandy's toothbrush right now?
Well, I mean, it's white, but then it has like the one little ring on it, and it's pink.
That's right.
Wow.
Oh my God! I'm so impressed. This man loves you.
Are we on
Okay.
question 8 now?
We are on question 8.
So he's 7 for 8. That's pretty.
Wow, that's
or
amazing.
6
yeah.
for 7 so far. That's pretty good.
What's Brandy's current favorite TV show?
Okay, I have to ask you this caveat: Is it a show? I'll just go for it. I think her favorite show right now is White Lotus.
Yes.
Oh my! I'm blown away. This man loves his wife. Okay.
That's the
this is
spin-off
true
show.
love.
This man loves his wife.
Yeah. Okay.
Trivia.
Question 9. I could probably do all 15 here. This man is
We'll see.
safe. Okay. What restaurant or location did you and Brandy go on your very first date?
Oh, come on, baby. You got to get harder ones than that.
Ah.
That was Liberty Bar in Austin, Texas on East 6th Street.
Yep.
And it's still around today, actually.
Yeah.
It's weird because it's gentrified so much, East Austin. So we go back there every once in a while just to like, for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah.
Last time we were back there, I mean, it used to be like this divey bar, you know, and like a bunch of other bars around it. So it's still there. But on both sides are like these high-rise like apartment buildings.
Yeah.
So when you go in the backyard or the back of the bar, which used to be like this little seating area, it's just a bunch of balconies looking down at you. It's just the vibe
not
is so
the same.
different.
Yeah.
Not the same, but you know, we go back every once in a while.
You know what I expected? Because I feel like the bar is pretty low from my experiences. Okay. So I'm like, these are just softball questions, but usually a man, right, Adam?
Yeah.
Wouldn't love his wife as much. But here we go. What is Brandy's favorite ice cream flavor?
That's a good one.
Oh, okay. We finally got one. Okay.
Mint chocolate chip.
Damn it.
Oh my God.
I was ready.
If there's a TV show with Ms. and Mr. and Mrs., you guys need to go on there.
You know what? There was a show like that. It was the Newlywed Game.
Yes, Newlywed
back in
Game.
Yeah, with Mart Winkendale. I'm that old.
You guys would kill it.
Well, we're not newlyweds, so that's probably why.
Oh my.
What number question are we on?
Oh, sorry, you guys. That was question 10. We're going to go to question 11.
Yeah, going into the double digits. Here we go.
Here we go. You're killing it. What's Brandy's most irrational fear?
Well, there's two.
Oh my God. I was blown away. This is amazing. Okay, go on.
But I would say the most irrational one's got to be sharks.
Sharks. Okay.
Or other one's lightning.
Okay.
And lightning's a little more rational because lightning can hit you anywhere.
Sure.
But sharks are kind of like, that really
Just don't
happens.
go in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, just don't go in there.
Yeah.
Don't go with sharks.
Exactly.
Yeah. Damn, man, you superhero. What's Brandy's favorite type of flower? This is question 12.
I'm gonna go with this, even though it might be wrong, because I know she likes them, but I don't know if it's her favorite. I'm gonna say roses.
Yes.
Oh my God, this
Roses.
man.
Red roses.
Red roses in particular, yes.
That's my favorite flower too, babe.
Oh, there you go.
Hell yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is take notes. All the men watching.
Yeah,
right
seriously.
now. Take notes. All right. Question 13. What city was Brandy born in?
Alexandria, Louisiana.
This is 14. Does Brandy prefer sweet or salty snacks?
Salty.
True.
Home run. Let's go. 15 and last question. What is Brandy's dream vacation destination?
Any Mediterranean beach.
Oh no! Yay! Andy's strong.
What?
Yes, but
What? That didn't feel like a yes.
but my dream vacation is Japan.
Oh,
Kyoto.
really? Kyoto. Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Okay.
I've been talking about it a lot.
I know, but I mean, okay. There you go.
Well, that's it. You nailed it. I mean, I'm from you.
13 out of 15. That's pretty
Not
good.
bad.
That was
Good
amazing.
job.
Really good.
That was okay. So everyone, don't. This is
Men,
the
men
bar.
take a note.
Take notes.
Take note.
Yeah, I didn't.
was
Can you
fun.
do this with Minushka?
I need to work on it.
Yeah. See, there we go.
I can get a few of them, but I need to get better.
Yeah. Well, not everyone can be John Moyer.
It's true.
You know.
It's true.
I'm impressed.
Thank you, baby.
So thank you guys.
I didn't want to let you down.
You guys are perfect. Thank you so much for coming on, Brandy. Thanks for coming in on this last segment too.
Yep.
You are wonderful. I love you so much.
you.
And you will see, guys. You will see John back in 6 months, where we get updated on your journey right now and where
Yeah,
you're
my
at.
current journey, a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Maybe the changes that, that
I want to hear the
that have
stories.
happened. Yeah.
I want to hear
then,
the lore.
Then we can go back to maybe what led to the changes.
Please. Oh, I can't wait. But
The
this
juicy stuff.
This was such an easy episode. You
Awesome.
were just
Thank you. This
absolutely
was wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. What a ride. Huge thanks to John Moyer for sharing his incredible story from grinding through the early days of rock to finding clarity and strength in sobriety. We'll be checking back in with John later this year to hear how his journey continues. So make sure you're following. If you love this episode, follow Rulebreakers with Saraya, drop us a review, and hit that like button wherever you're listening. It helps more rebels like you find the show.